Hey everybody, Bedbug Guy here, and today I thought I'd take a break from the ancient history, ranting, raving, and education, to talk about something a little more modern. Now, by now, everybody with a compatible device or certain pieces of software is experiencing the rollout of all the AI and the AI assistants and all this jazz. And personally, I find something super annoying about the AI. Now, I'm aware that with new technology being rolled out, there's always something annoying about it, and we're set down for forever improvement and refinement. But there's something different about the AI. And to explain to you, I just want to give a quick background and a little bit of maybe a basic history lesson. I'm Gen X, and most of us in Gen X, and we have this distinction of being born at this unique time where collectively we all experienced the birth and evolution and improvement of all the current technology that is out there. So, and usually when that stuff came out, it had annoying things about it, usually for a technical reason. I'll give a couple examples. Computers, personal computers. These things went from these giant setups with a giant monitor that basically was only green. It didn't do much. You could program it to keep track of things and do spreadsheets and do math and maybe write up your term paper and then send it over and listen to it roll out on a dot matrix printer. And I'm gonna tell you what, we all thought it was great. But in the time, compared to today, those computers couldn't do jack. We watched them get smaller, color screens, faster, more powerful, smaller, and just got that evolution way down. But they were annoying. They were bulky. They were expensive. They didn't do jack. But still, they had a coolest factor. Okay? Video game systems. Starting off with Pong and then the Ataris, and we all thought it was great at the time, but I mean, graphics weren't crap and the games weren't that challenging, but man, it was the greatest. But we watched it go from like 4-bit, 8-bit, 16-bit, 32-bit. They just kept getting better until what we have today. How about the cellular telephone? Now, I'm talking about the cell phone specifically because mobile phones have existed since the 50s, maybe a little earlier, but they're different. More or less, it was like a shortwave radio. When you wanted to make a phone call, you called in, you radioed into a switchboard, and then they would connect the call. So you're talking on a radio. It wasn't like where you could, from anywhere, punch in somebody's number and talk to them. But the cellular phone is what I'm talking about. I witnessed the entire evolution. My dad was big on tech, and he had everything. So the first version really was one that was wired into your car. It was called a car phone. And they had a wired in your car and wired antenna, and the handset was corded to the car. It wasn't even cordless. And you would type in the number and hit send, and service was spotty. They had a portable version also. The same thing, handset corded to basically a car battery that you would carry around. It was heavy. And anybody doesn't believe me, in the new generation, watch the movie Lethal Weapon. There's a scene where they're standing on the side of the road and Murtaugh's talking on one of these phones and he's holding it. And then it went down. Motorola came out with the Brick, which was your first real cell phone that was portable to some degree, but it was huge and heavy. It looked like what the radio guys used in Vietnam, and you couldn't really put it anywhere, and it was annoying because service was spotty, and these things, you couldn't really do anything when you had to carry them in a briefcase. So as they built the cell towers, and then there was a race to get the phones smaller. And then I remember in the 90s, I had a flip phone that had a color screen, and it could basically access the internet, and it would have, take fundamental pictures. And boy, the day you can watch TV on these, I'm going to have one. And the day that you could watch TV on them, that went from going smaller to now they want them bigger. Okay? So right now, all the technology is literally the culmination of a Gen X wish list, for the most part, and then to some extent running into millennials. And we were heavily influenced by Star Wars and Star Trek. So now, not only do we get to watch the birth of these technologies and all their annoyances, but the coolness factor and the usefulness would outweigh these little issues as they improved them. And then, you've got video cassettes, VCRs, and then evolution to DVD and then to digital. You have the 8-track, the album, and the cassette, and the CD, and then moving it all to digital. And oddly enough, turns out they're going back to the vinyl record albums because as far as sound quality, the primitive record albums are far superior than the digital ones. Apparently they can't fix those compression algorithms to give it the depth of the actual recording. So that was like kind of a flip back and forth. Now we have these, which is literally a combination of all the above. Because Gen X said, boy, wouldn't it be great if I had a tablet computer that allowed me to make video calls and access the information from anywhere and take videos and take pictures and all this stuff. And boy, we got them. Now here's the thing. We were all influenced by Star Wars and Star Trek. These things are directly out of Star Trek The Next Generation. That's late 80s into early 90s. And they walked around with touchscreen tablets. And you could never see how exactly they were operating on everyone there. Wow. And then about 10 to 15 years later, Apple starts with the iPad and the iPhone. So these are the culmination of a Gen X wish list, and these are far superior to anything that was portrayed on Star Trek The Next Generation. Trust me. So, what else is on the Gen X wish list? Well, there's lightsabers. We want those. Transporters. Beaming in and out. We'd love to have those. What else would we like to have? Gravity and anti-gravity. Force fields. Replicators. Those would be great. Can you imagine you just go up to the wall of your kitchen and ask for a Big Mac with fries and it just suddenly appears out of nowhere and it's good? Love it. We'd also like warp drive and or hyperdrive. Doesn't matter which, because secretly most of Gen X, going into some extent, the millennials, and some people today, we would love to have our own Millennium Falcon. Okay, and you need all this to get there. So now the other thing on that Gen X wish list that we're starting to get is droids. Now, going hand in hand with those droids is the artificial intelligence. We want that. So, great. They're working on both right now. Looks like they'll be out in the next couple of years. Now, on top of being influenced by Star Wars and Star Trek, we also saw the Terminator. So as far as we want our droids to be like droids from Star Wars, but we do not want Skynet. That's the artificial intelligence that controlled everything and decided that humans needed to go. So that brings me to the current AI. Well, they figured out that the best way to do this, because you can't physically program everything into the artificial intelligence, is that it has an algorithm to learn. So the AI assistants and the free use AI that you can use to write your term papers, they all have a learning function, and this is necessary to perfect that AI for the autonomous droids. Great. Like I said, we want the autonomous droids. We do not want Skynet. Now, the rollout of this has the usual annoyances, but that's not what I'm talking about. It kind of slow, doesn't exactly know what you're talking about, so there's some improvement to be needed. but it's getting there. But it has one thing that's next level annoying. I'm pretty sure it was programmed in on purpose. But if you've ever used any of the word processors or any other softwares or even social media that have AI assistants built into them, including your phone, it just kind of jumps out and makes suggestions. Like, but in a way where it's kind of like, I want to take over for you. Not, hey, you could use it to help you with this, but literally writing an email, it's like, you know what, I can write this better. Would you like me to write it better? Basically telling us we're stupid without telling us we're stupid. So already the AI has got some sort of superiority complex built into it. Now I know they've made it kind of pushy to get everybody addicted to it, but it's kind of, I'm seeing some stuff. I have a customer that, didn't pay their bill on time. And the software says, hey, this person hasn't paid yet. I will draft an email that, no. I know how to get money out of my customers. I don't need the robot to tell them I'll do that. So as far as having artificially intelligent droids walking around, I'd love to have one in my house, play games with, talk to, perform maintenance. Love to have one. I do not want it in my everyday life at this point. I will not turn over my car to a computer because that's a dangerous object. The human still needs to be at the wheel. Airplanes too. Military applications. Don't let any of that go autonomous. Need to have people at the wheel, in my opinion. But I know the AI needs to learn, and I know for profit reasons, everybody needs to start getting addicted to it. But can we make it not so pushy? You can let us know it's there, but don't come out and offer to do everything for us. It's really annoying. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments. I'm curious. Anybody else find that a little annoying, or do they think it's the greatest thing on earth? Until then, please subscribe. I need a couple more people so I can start live streaming with my buddies. I'd really appreciate it. Other than that, thanks for stopping by and watching. Bye-bye now.